What a day in crypto as the new CEO of FTX slams Sam Bankman-Fried, Binance and CZ look to save one of the biggest crypto lenders. Loads happening on. We've got the Fed ramped, ready to increase interest rates. The markets fearful of recession. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the links in the description if you can take part in Bybit's World Cup Fantasy Crypto League. Yes, you can win up to $500,000 US. So get involved. Links in the description. As you can see, Binance looking to save the crypto space by bidding for Voyager. This is a huge ton of events. Initially, when FTX announced their collapse, a lot of the Voyager people who had money trapped in Voyager got really worried because remember, FTX had won the bid to buy Voyager. Nobody knew how far progressed this was. What it seems now that Binance initially got rejected on the basis of national security concerns. Can you imagine? Just because they're obviously not US based, there's this whole narrative around Binance and China and CZ, which I think is ludicrous. But anyway, Binance US, yes, very smart, way to go around this. CZ's like, I'm a genius, I can figure this out. Binance US will now bid for Voyager. Good news for all of you guys who had funds stuck in Voyager, because finally this means this is not stuck in the FTX saga, which is really good. They've opened up to new bidders and Binance US are one of those. Great. But a whole bunch of fallout continues from the FTX saga as we expected. Guys, if you've not seen some of the projects coming out, go watch that video on BitBoy's channel. I know that one's really famous. Go watch that. Listen to what some of the projects have to say. But remember, when it's only one given project, we've got to hear a bunch of different projects come out. That's what I'm looking forward to, is when a lot of different projects come out and say similar things. That's when you can really start building a meaningful case. This is the other thing we've noticed. The other thing that I found out was that Alameda Research shared money, $4.1 billion in loans to related parties, including $1 billion to former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried, according to bankruptcy filings, okay? So $1 billion went to Sam Bankman-Fried, $543 million to the FTX director Nishad Singh, $55 million to digital markets head Ryan Salame, okay? There was also $2.3 billion loan between FTX legal subsidiaries Euclid Way and Paperbird. So loads going on, guys, and this is what's really damning, is that the CEO, the new CEO, who here for the restructuring, this is an expert at helping some of the world's biggest defunct companies liquidate and salvage whatever they have left. This is hugely damning, guys. He has said he has never seen such a complete failure. To put this into perspective, he headed up one of the biggest restructurings, Enron, one of the biggest previous frauds. So this put things into perspective. If John Ray III is coming out and saying that in his 40 years of legal and restructuring experience, he has never seen such a complete failure of corporate controls and such a complete absence of trustworthy financial information. Guys, this is shocking. And when you look at it, basically what he's saying is, I have no confidence that any of the data provided, whether it's the balance sheet, whether it's the profit and losses, whether it's the assets, a substantial portion may be missing or stolen, okay? The concentration of control in the hands of a very small group of inexperienced, unsophisticated, and potentially comprised individuals. He does not hold back. In other words, he's gone in there and he said, this is a complete mess. And this is no surprise for us, guys. Remember, when CZ offered to buy FTX, within just hours of starting his due diligence process, he backed off and said, no way, Jose, I am not getting involved, which shows that from the surface, it was a complete mess that didn't even warrant a deep dive for CZ. So you can imagine what this new CEO who's heading up the restructuring is seeing when he's diving into the paperwork, looking at the lack of risk management, looking at the lack of assets. He can't trust anything. And we know from CZ's interview on CNBC today that there was a clear evidence, it was clearly visible to him that there was a misappropriation of customer funds. So this is looking horrific. And this will be and is one of the biggest frauds we've seen in generations. This goes up with Enron. It goes up with Madoff, right? This is huge and it's damning for the crypto space. We did not need this in the crypto space. How is Bitcoin responding? Well, Bitcoin's actually holding up fairly well today. I'm going to go into the wider markets and explain what's going on. But from a technical perspective here on Bitcoin, we are coiling up ready for a big move. The apex of this triangle is now up and we need to make a decision as to what we want to do here. You can see if I bring out the Bollinger Band here on the hourly, you can see it's really starting to constrict up. Remember, from a technical perspective, when this constricts, you're normally expecting a big move to the upside. Let's zoom this up to the 4 hourly so you can see the same on the 4 hourly, right? Big move to the downside. Now it's constricting. When it constricts, it wants to make a move in either direction. Let's bring out the EMA ribbon as well. And you can see we're starting to run into our EMA ribbon. So you'd give the bias here to the bears, obviously with the fundamentals which we know are going on as well. That makes complete sense to be giving us a bearish downside, and you'd be looking to see if we can hold the 16,240 level. So I don't think we're out to the neck of the woods here at all, and it doesn't help that the Fed officials are starting to speak hawkish again. Yes, the market started running. We saw that the markets were having some green days last week, and the Fed officials are coming out this week and saying, guys, we've got a lot of work to do. And you can see here, this just notched down a little bit from 85% when I last checked down to 80%. So still, 80% of the market expects 50 basis point rate hike. They don't expect 75 basis points again, but Fed officials are coming in strong because they don't want the markets to get carried away, and they don't want the markets to keep rallying. That's not what the Fed want. The Fed wants to keep the financial markets tight, and they want to keep bringing inflation down. They don't just want to stop at 7.7%. They want to bring it down to 2% inflation. So that's important for the mandate of the Fed. You can see here, we're still sitting here on extreme fear. Markets are super fearful right now, which is why I went ahead and did a little bit more light dollar cost average in here on Bitcoin. But as I said to you guys, I'm waiting for a break down here, down to these lows at 15,500 before I make any meaningful buys. So by all means, I'll nibble a little bit here, but if I want some more meaningful buys, I need to see it at 15.56. I was lucky enough to be buying in here. We did that live on the stream together as well. And that's the kind of level I'd want to be topping up some of my Bitcoin and maybe some Ethereum as well. When the markets are fearful, that's personally when I want to be doing my work. Of course, do your own research, go with your own conviction. And again, guys, I've made so many resources available for you guys to try to learn as much as you can. Whether you want to become a member of our live streams, ijaz.uk/member. We have 3 times weekly live streams. Join that. If you just want to learn our free TA, I've made my TA course, which is worth thousands of dollars, completely free. ijaz.uk/TA. Please make use of those, guys, as it will help you learn what are EMA ribbons, what a head and shoulders pattern, when's the best time to enter markets, how to use chart patterns to assist you, everything from scratch, from as if you were a beginner. Definitely check that out. That will not be free forever, so take advantage of that and work through that course. Let's also take a look at the most important US 10-year yield. And the US 10-year yield is pretty much what's setting the trend today. And you've had a nice green day here on the US 10-year yield. The 10-year yields are spiking, 2-year yields are spiking, because the expectations of inflation, interest rates going up continue to increase. Okay, so that is one of the reasons we're starting to see this. You've seen that the dollar index has, unfortunately for us here, started to find a little bit of support. I'm sitting here on the 4-hourly chart, and remember, we followed this pattern perfectly as we expected. Let's just drop it down to the daily, and you can see where the support is now coming in. Let me bring out the EMA ribbon. We did break the EMA ribbon to the downside, which is fantastic. But unfortunately, we're seeing a little bit of support coming from the final straw, which is your 200 exponential moving average. That's this blue-colored line here. Now, ideally, I'm happy for this to come back up here, but I want another push back to the downside, creating a lower low. Remember, a nice, long, prolonged downward trend on the dollar index will allow risk to stay on for a suitable period of time, which eventually, fingers crossed, with nothing going on with FTX or anything like that, should allow us to start seeing some greenness on Bitcoin. Now, had this whole FTX drama not occurred, I know this is all ifs and buts, we would be experiencing a nice move here on Bitcoin, but unfortunately, we have to deal with the cards that we have been dealt. US markets, as you can see, are slightly red here today as they're worried about these recessionary fears. Remember, the Fed have a tight labor market right now. The labor market, despite all these rate hikes, is still tight. Right? It's still tight, and that means the Fed has plenty of runway to keep doing 75 basis points if they want, and that could trigger a recession, and that is why markets are a little bit fearful. You saw targets, retail sales, slightly to the weak side today. You've seen UK inflation over its 45-year record at 11.1%. It's incredible. So US cannot become complacent. Yes, they've seen good progress compared to the UK and Europe. Yes, it's come down to 7.7%, but remember, the mandate is to get it to 2.2%, right? 2%, sorry. So it doesn't matter if it's 7.7%. What really matters is how much of that is sticky. How much of that is entrenched inflation that just won't go away? Because if you're falling and you fall down to 6%, let's say, with the 75 base point rate hikes and you keep going, but then you're just stuck at 6% for many years, that is a huge problem that Jerome Powell has to address. And if he needs to drive the economy into recession in order to take it from 6% down to 2%, he will do that. And that's why markets are a little bit concerned right now. So there you have it, guys. A crazy day in the markets. If you're trading in this market, please be very, very careful. If you're investing for the long run, you've got to ask yourself, what is your conviction? Is this the peak fear right now? Are we closer to the bottom than we are the top? That's a decision you've got to do your research. I know from previous bear markets that this is huge levels of panic and fear. people who have been in crypto for a very long time are capitulating right now. And maybe in a future video, I will show you the on-chain metrics, because the on-chain metrics are showing you that certain whale addresses are accumulating. The big boys out there who know to buy when there's extreme fear, when there's blood on the streets, literally. They're the ones that are unloading right now, and the retail investors are those that are starting to panic, starting to capitulate as they're sitting on their bags, which they held from November 2021. So it's a really tough time out there right now. A lot of damage reputation has been done in the crypto space. But we need to ask ourselves a question. Has anything fundamentally changed in the assets we're investing in? Yes, if you're investing in something like Solana, which is hugely affected by FTX, you've taken a hit on that part of your portfolio. But what about Bitcoin? What about Ethereum? What about the decentralized vision that we had for Web3, right? Have these things changed? Or are we just in the middle of a deep, painful bear market where we ultimately find out who are the bad eggs? So there you have it, guys. Don't forget to smash the like button. Don't forget to go watch this video here. Check out the links in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.